Inside Leominster is brought to you through the generous support of Colonial Insulation Company, residential and commercial insulation and fireproofing services, specializing in blown-in cellulose as well as spray foam insulation. For more information, visit their website, colonialinsulation.com.
Hello and welcome to Inside Leominster. My name is Dean Mazzarella, Mayor for the city. We're live tonight. Lots to talk about. We'll have Wendy Wiiks on with us in a couple of minutes to talk about grants. And, let's slide right over because it's a little misty to be landing my Lear jet on Day Street. So I will head over with our drone and lay it down in front of the Big Art's house.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Art, how are you for the art report tonight?
Not bad. I cannot believe. First off, I think thanks goes to John Stewart for all he did for the first responders of 911, and the fact that the nitwits in Washington sat on their hands until it took national press of John Stewart's efforts to get them some help. They're finally going to get it. And it just goes to show you, if they'd stop being busy and trying to mind everybody else's business and get back to where they should help the people that they put in there, we'd be a lot better off, like we are in Leominster.
Leominster.
Yes.
Ain't much going on out there. It doesn't look, maybe there's a lot going on, but it looks like every morning they wake up, they do investigations, they go to lunch, and they come back, and they're like the FBI now. So, I don't know. I think
let's not forget the golf course.
The golf course and lunch. Yeah. And I think
when is it going to dry up?
We need a.
This is going to cost me a fortune just in Vaseline, keeping my feet dry, and the golf course on my shoes.
I know.
But I'll tell you, our flowers are going crazy. They love it.
It only rained 2 days this week. We've had some sun. We had a nice weekend last weekend. We had the fire memorial on Sunday, the stroll on Saturday. And,
yeah, we were out of town, unfortunately.
And on Friday night, we had the Relay for Life, the 2-day Relay for Life. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday were beautiful.
We were golfing, and they had all the tents up there in Gardner, and looked like another big event, which is a good thing.
Yeah, like I said, good weather made it a good event. And
funny, I usually tell you I see this animal, that animal, usually in the early mornings going golfing. I think it was either Tuesday or Wednesday, just going past the Gardner Hospital and the college is on the right, Wachusett Community College. I looked down on the left in the road in the gutter, and there's a dog running towards me, or so I thought.
Coyote.
Yes. Tail dragging on the road, and he was in a very fast trot. But right on I'm talking 50 feet from the hospital, and there's all kinds of people using the crosswalk going to work there, and here he comes. I'm saying, what's this all about?
He was heading to breakfast.
Yeah.
He was heading to breakfast.
I think he was under the weather because there were about 30 geese grazing on the fairway as he ran by them, and he didn't pay any attention.
I know. I think I've only seen one coyote in my life. They have a big bushy tail, right?
Somewhat.
Yeah.
But it came down almost like an S off his back. It was dragging. He looked worried, for lack of a better term. Like, what am I doing here? But he was trotting. He was avoiding all the woodlands on the right.
Right.
And heading to the hospital.
Well. Maybe he was heading in for his yearly checkup.
Maybe he went for a checkup.
Oh, I've got to tell you, I saw a friend of yours the other day, Roy Landry.
Oh, Ziggy.
Ziggy. He said, make sure you tell Art. I said hello.
Yeah, Ziggy. That's funny. You know how you talk about especially for some reason, the Italian culture everybody had a nickname. Well, when we were probably 14 or 15, it's strange, I remember this event clearly. We were walking on Millard Ave, me, Ziggy, Rudy Helenius, and the three of us, someone said, we got to give ourselves nicknames. And we decided then, he was Ziggy, Rudy had two, the rifleman, because he looked just like Chuck Connors, and Buzz, B-U-Z-Z, and I was Bart, just cut short for Bartlett. And we've had that all our lives.
Wow, imagine that.
Yeah. But we had to come up with nicknames.
Well,
things were so laid back in those days, you know.
If you were anybody, you had a nickname.
Oh, yeah. And I'll never forget, I was the first kid in the neighborhood to get a driver's license, and I had bought a car when I was 15.
You were a hero.
And worked on it with Dad. He taught me how to get it running. And I did a funny quick story for you. I used to, in the driveway, we had a paved driveway, and of course I had to lay rubber in the driveway.
Of course.
Because I hadn't registered it yet, no license.
Nowhere to go.
Time to get my license, I got it registered, and it's time to go get a sticker to that big Chrysler dealer across the street from Foster Grants. I think it was Goodhue's maybe, or Donahue or something.
I'll think of it.
I go pick up Ziggy, I go pick up Buzz, and a couple more pile in. I think Ronnie Desjardins, whose nickname was D-double-E, and we're going for a sticker. I pull out of the driveway. Somebody yells, lay some rubber. I dump the clutch. I had done it so much in the yard, evidently the motor mounts loosened up a little bit.
Yep.
The fan went through the radiator.
Oh.
And as it did, we hear a little bleep of a siren, and it's a police officer pulling me over.
Oh. Double whammy.
And I said, I'm going for a sticker, but he said, you're losing water. I said, I know, I try, you know, and he laughed. He says, you better back it back in your driveway. And we did. And we went to, I don't know where the junkyard. I went somewhere, got a radiator, and make a long story short.
Cody's.
We got the sticker in.
You went to Cody's, probably.
46 Ford Coupe, lead sled, with an 85 horse V8, Ford V8.
Oh, my
Three on the tree.
Oof. You know, for a while it was Susie Chrysler, Plymouth, right? For a little while. And I don't remember what it was. Somebody will remember. If anybody remembers what the name of that Chrysler dealership was, across from
Donahue, something D.
Maybe Donahue at one time, right across from the old Foster Grants.
And there was a restaurant in there somewhere too.
Yes, yes.
I went to school with the kid that his father owned. Well,
maybe that's the coincidence because Donahue, right? Goodhue used to have a restaurant there. Goodhue's, right?
No, this was something else. It was directly across from Foster Grant.
It was Goodhue's.
It was also ice cream and something.
I think it was Goodhue's.
Really? I don't think so.
Come on, some historians watching tonight. Let us know.
Yes, please. This will drive me crazy.
I'll find out. Because I'm pretty sure I can see it now. I can see it right across the. Everybody that went to work at Foster Grant used to go there.
It was almost styled like a diner.
Yeah, it had
and
that.
I think an Italian fellow owned it.
Well,
I went to school with his son.
I don't know why I'm thinking Goodhue because.
I think that was on Route 12 towards Stencil Street side.
Well, that was their the place where they used to keep the boat docks and all that.
Yeah. That's right.
Somebody we know owned that. I don't remember. It'll come to me.
Okay. That's all I got.
All right, good to hear from you. Stay dry. And
we will.
Good luck on the golf.
Thanks. Good night.
I don't know how people do it. Left State Street in Boston today at a little, 3:45. Just got here, like literally just got here. Almost 3 hours from door to door. I don't know how people do it, Carl. You have the lot. Yeah, it's just the whole. Everything was built in the inner city. And now there is no way to get in by anyway. I mean, by train, anything. I mean, it's just, and they just keep building. And I guess they assumed that everybody would get an apartment out there and walk to work or take a bike. Anyway, we're back. We're safe. Had my seatbelt on, had the radio on, and yeah, that's what people do every day. Taking a short break, and we'll be right back. We're live tonight, 978-537-7760 is the number to call. Extension 3. You can go to leominster.tv and catch us there. live, you can go to the website. What is it? The Facebook page, Carl?
It's
Leominster TV. And so there's a bunch of different ways that you can catch us. And it's rainy tonight, but that's okay because it's going to be a nice Friday, Saturday, and I believe Sunday. Be right back. And we're back here at Inside Leominster, a nice little segment. And lots going on. The Historical Commission, they have been doing a lot of work, and it's much appreciated because one doesn't need to make their way down to the Gallagher building and sort through thousands of documents and pictures. They do it all for you, and Ron Gerard takes that to the internet and takes it to the Facebook page and brings it here to LTV. Don't forget, Starburst coming up this Saturday night. Don't miss it, the 15th. And gates open at 4:30, and bands start playing at 5. Do we have a caller?
Yeah.
Hey,
Caller.
buddy.
Hey, Crystal, what's going on?
Not much.
What are you doing tonight?
I'm just hanging out. I'm sorry I didn't come out to see you today.
Oh, well, I just got back from Boston, where people sit in their cars for long periods of time with their windshield washers getting nowhere.
How fun.
And then, yeah. I turned the radio on. I was patient, so I knew it would take a while when I looked in front of me and saw nothing was moving.
So
But-
I did. So Melissa was telling me like I need to tell her what if Anthony's harassing me. I need to go to her.
Oh, all right. Melissa will straighten you out.
Yep, and I can't wait for my graduation soon.
24th?
The 25th. Yep.
25th, okay. We will see you there. Are you going to have a cap?
I'll talk to you later, buddy.
Are you going to have a cap and gown?
I'm not sure.
Are you going to go to beach week after?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, find out those answers.
All right.
All right.
I'll talk to you later, buddy.
Bye, Crystal.
Take care. Yep. Bye-bye.
978-537-7760. That's the number. And you can email me at dmazzarella@leominster-ma.gov, and I'll get it right here. If you don't want to come on live and you're kind of shy, you don't like to hear your voice, we'll get your emails right here, and we'll read your question, but we will leave your name out. So how's that? Well, we have Wendy Wiiks here, the Grant Administrator for the City of Leominster. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Lots happening on the grant front. Let's start at the beginning with grants, because grants aren't just an application, it's a whole thing, right?
Yep.
And that you have to put together, and lots of people are competing.
That is true. And every grant is different.
Right.
Everything today, I worked with the school department on a cyber grant that was 1 page.
That was it.
And then, yep, 1 page. And then last week, I turned in one that was a whole binder.
All right. That was the federal government one that you were
That
working
was
on.
the one, yep.
And so everybody's looking for something different. Some are easier than others. Some are more complicated in the sense that need more forms and documentation. but they're all competitive.
Yep.
So, and that's why I always say, I want to know what they're looking for, because I don't want to be submitting a document or a grant application for something that I can tell they're not looking for, because things change.
Well, so the park on Mechanic Street, this year, we've always been very successful with those Fournier Field, all those, we got grants for all those. But this year, they were looking to for you to have a climate change element to it. So we planted, in the end, we'll be planting 33 trees.
Right.
So that counted toward the climate change.
Retain some of the water and all that.
But if you don't read all that stuff, you don't know. So
last year, I know we turned in lights for Fournier Field, and they just don't have any appetite for lights. For some reason, it doesn't, it doesn't bode well for the ribbon cutting of the lights.
Right.
So they want to do more parks, more things that people can enjoy, and the lights aren't, they're just not something that people get excited about.
Well, they're interested in expansion. So we had gotten 2 grants for Fournier, one for the playground and one for the splash park. They were, that expanded the use of that. So that's what they were interested in.
That playground gets so much use, and Nettie Latimer is going to be taking she applied for a grant, and they're going to have, they'll be able to serve food down there this year.
Nice.
That's something new, and they'll have more details on that coming up soon. But there are so many people down there, and we're trying to hire enough people to provide coverage so that we have people cleaning there, especially on the weekends and hot days. So we always have somebody there cleaning, just because so many people go, and if you bring, little things wrapped up, or baby diapers or whatever it is, it's a lot. And so we need somebody to be cleaning all the time, making sure we're power washing under the pavilion, and watering some of the flowers that are in the area, and just keeping it clean, emptying the trash, all of that. So, but it's been a huge success.
Yep. So a little bit of a new element now is that the open, we did our open space plan very early. We were one of the first communities in the state to do that, and we took advantage of park grants and land grants and everything else. But now that's become the norm. Right. They'll give you a grant to plan your priority list, like the grant we just got for the MVP program for climate change. That's what Complete Streets, everything has to have a priority, which is kind of interesting because that's what we've been doing for years.
Right. No, we've been working on that, and maybe that's where some of it came, but the reality is, I think the reason we've gotten these grants is we've been very kind of focused on the future and sustainability and planning things out. So when nobody else, in order to get grants for open space and recreation, you have to have this huge document for open space and recreation. If you don't have that, you can't even apply. Well, we were like the first to have our open space plan done, which made us eligible to get grants. And the grants were good, and so we did okay.
A lot of those early grants were to purchase all that land around Barrett, Granite Street, all of that connecting to Leominster State Forest.
We're lucky. We have, I was saying the other day that we heavily invested in open space and outdoors. And that was 20 years ago, 25 years ago, and we rolled the dice and said, we think the future is going to be outdoors. And people are going to become more active. And we played our cards right because now we have plenty of open space. We have parks and more to come.
26 miles of trails.
26 miles of trails. And sometimes people think we own these little right-of-ways through land. They don't realize we own all the land in those areas. So once you get up around Elm Street and you get around Wachusett and, on the backside of Granite Street and West Street, all that hill that you see up there, if you're standing on the old Pheasant Run or you stand over by Kmart, you look up and you just own all that land there. And it's just acres and acres of land. Then add that to the watershed land, and that's, people that buy a house here, I always say it, have the biggest backyard of anybody.
It's true. And
it's all their land to use. And you can go to the website and you can look up and find out all of the locations in town where you can go, because sometimes if they're not marked, you usually see that big marquee out front, that little board out there with a map on it. That generally will tell you that that's our land, city or land, your land. And then it'll show you where the trails are. And the trails are so much better off. I mean, they're so much better marked today.
Yep.
And we have trail stewards that go out. If you're interested, we should get Dick O'Brien on some week, talk about it, because you can show up for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. And let me tell you, get 5 or 6 or 10 people together, it can really make a difference. 978-537-77. 60 is the number to call. We're talking to Wendy Wiiks about grants in the city. And Yes.
So I have some slides, but they're after the pictures of the week.
Let's
If you
do the
wanna
pictures of the week then. You guys ready? I guess I'm the one that has to be ready, right? Here we go. Pictures of the week. So there we are, our highway crews out there. Tommy Bissonette, who's does our road linings and pavement markings, and he gets a helper during the season. So they're out there marking crosswalks. Ironically, school gets out tomorrow, and it takes a full season. It takes all summer to get these lines painted, believe it or not. There are so many areas in towns that has to be done. And there's our float for the parade, which is the little pop-up parade that kicks off the city stroll. And we had a perfect day. And here's Tom Carrigan and his son and other employees from New England Undercoat Rhino Lining, and there's their rhino. And they gave out like tattoos, like stickers, tattoos. And I think he said he gave out about 400 or 500 before they ran out. That lady's good. She does the whole hula. She does it while she's walking. She's moving, and she's got 5, 6, 7 of those things going. And there's our train, which started right at 3 o'clock, and I don't think they got done till 7:30. They quit around 7:30, 7:45, so there was a line the whole time. And there's Touch a Truck and some of the other jumpy houses. This is the only event of its kind in the whole area that I can even find, where most everything, the jumpy houses, samples, food, the bands, parking, everything is free. What are they doing here? I didn't see this one.
So this is
fire
very
department?
cool. Yeah. So the kids can, there's fire in every window, and then the kids use the hose to hook up there to put the fire out.
How cool.
Yeah.
I didn't get up that far. Pretty neat. There's our brand new truck at the DPW. I think that's the new one.
Yep.
They just got a brand new one, and new plow and stainless steel body. You know, the salt is what really ruins everything. So actually, we're going to be taking our trucks to Rhino linings and having them undercoated, because this doesn't. Oh, the hula hoop entertainer is Laura Hanley, Danny Hanley's daughter. So there you go. Thank you, Rick, for mentioning that. And there we go. We had some many cool cars. Trying to think of what year is that? A Javelin over there or a Camaro? I can't tell. Anyway, thanks to the AT car drivers and hopped up cars. I don't know. I guess I could own one, but I wouldn't have time to really take care of it. So I just have to stick to listening. And there we are, giving out watermelon and lemonade. It was a beautiful day. I started getting together about 6 o'clock in the morning. What's that, Carl? What are you doing?
Taking behind the scenes.
Oh, behind the scenes. So we did watermelon and
exciting.
lemonade. Gave out about, I don't know, 20 watermelons cut up. I don't know how many cases of lemonade. But there was a line the whole time, you know. So for 4 hours, I still got scars on my hands from cutting watermelon. Anyway, we had a great time. And got to talk to a lot of new people in town, families. It was just a great day, beautiful day. Team effort by everyone. A beautiful day for the Firefighters Memorial. Wendy climbed the cupola once again. She's like Quasimodo out there running around up in the cupola.
I was almost late, so I had to go fast.
Yeah, you get dangerous up there. It's like you get down to one little rope and you pull yourself up. Anyway, Firefighters Memorial every year. Remember those firefighters who passed before them, the rest of the firefighters, and they honor them and they read their names. And I think it's just a good way to remember those firefighters that are gone before us. And whether it's one person or 1,000, there'll always be the tradition that they will gather the first Sunday in June to remember those fallen firefighters. What a great tradition. Great photo. And another beautiful day. Wow. Where'd you get that from?
I just turned around when I was.
You could see that from the top of the cupola
Yeah.
at City Hall. That's incredible. Jeff, are you jealous back there? Wendy's got her own drone. Are you jealous? Hey, there we are.
Terry, yeah, she's doing good.
Yeah, see that?
I'll give her some drone pilot instructions. She'll take some good photos.
There we are for the Relay for Life, and met a whole lot of people from Leominster up there supporting the effort and taking some laps, and had a lot of fun. and you know, for a good cause up there. And and finally they had a nice day and a nice weekend, because I've been up there before when it just poured. And Marine Corporal Robert R. Babb Jr., and he was a resident of the rest home next to Dunkin' Donuts on Main Street, across from the Armory. And Corporal Robert R. Babb Jr. Didn't have any family. His family was really the rest home, and some people had met in coffee shops. And sort of word got out that he was going to be buried at with a military funeral up at the Winchton Cemetery, and didn't have a whole lot of family or any known family. And word got out, and the chapel was full. People that maybe didn't really know Bob showed up, but his family from the rest home did show up, and along with others, myself, Rick Voltor, Jolene was there, and many others. Bruce Colt that took some real. Is this one of his pictures?
It is.
I want to give him credit, because he took some really good pictures, and it was, you know, it was a very dignified and honorable send-off for Major Corporal Robert R. Babb Jr. And thank you to the Marine Corps Honor Guard, and not just a good send-off. He had friends he didn't know existed. And there's another photo of a Marine presenting the flag. And Starburst rehearsal all ready for Saturday. Let me tell you, I was up there because I'm playing a little part this year in the Starburst band performance. And I tell you, standing up there, what talent. It was an honor to stand there. I was just like, wow, how beautiful. And they are sharp. They're ready. I could tell just from the rehearsal that they're ready. So Saturday, don't miss it. Fireworks after. And you can go to our website. I think everything is on there. They also have some information up on it. In case you didn't hear, Popeyes is open. I don't know anything about Popeyes. I don't know if I've ever eaten their food. I don't know. I stick pretty much with local people, but I'll try. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a grand opening, but there's so many good local restaurants that it's kind of hard to get to them all, let alone get down to Popeyes. But they didn't have any shortage of people visiting them the other day, and good luck to them. I'm sure, again, we'll have a... And there we are at St. Anna's graduation. The kids were awesome. They are so funny. They're honest, funny, loving, and we got them all together to take a group photo. This is the graduating class, and they're going to go off now to kindergarten. This is the pre-kindergarten class. So congratulations to them and their families, and the teachers there, and instructors, and parents that help out with the classroom. And there's the Monument Square Music School recital. There was 2 of them. And Monument School, I guess the recitals are getting so big they have to do 2 of them. So there they are. And look who it is. I didn't even know this was here. Is this the photo of the week, sort of?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Anyway, there is Donovan, my grandson, number 2, who's 1 as of yesterday. And he loves cake, and he wears it well. There's Donovan. Happy birthday, Donovan, 1 year old. Oh, look at the boiler.
So, this is exciting because we've got to watch this every day with progress on the boiler and firsthand knowledge of what it takes to replace this monster, which is from 1974.
Is it really?
Yeah. So it has its own room downstairs in the basement, and it is now gone.
And?
Next picture.
Let's see what's going on.
So it's gone.
Look at that.
And that's the guys this morning putting in all the piping.
Oh, so they're starting to put the new one in.
Yep.
Look at that.
And it's all going to go right where they're standing, over in the corner over there against the wall. And John and Brad from City Hall painted the whole place, so it's really, you can't really see it too much there, but it's really bright.
Wow. That's what you call a modern boiler room. So we're going to have air conditioning and heat. And obviously that's got to use a lot less gas to run that. At one time, I think, they probably heated that with coal, based on where it is and how in both buildings the boilers were very close to each other, and they probably ran first on coal, then on oil, and then they were they translated over to, transferred over to gas, which is so much more efficient.
And that was the first grant that we got when I got here, was the energy grant from the feds,
Right.
who paid to switch that over.
That's awesome. And there it is.
So there's the Mechanic Street Park before, and that was the Wilmette House.
Right.
So it's been a long journey
there it
for
is
that
now.
piece of property.
Let's go back, and just like going to the eye doctor. Which one's better? That one, Dr. Marabella, or that one? That one, or that one? Look at that. Beautiful. So the only thing we're waiting on is for the grass to take a little more, right? And electricity.
Electricity.
So the National Grid needs to come down and turn it on.
Yeah.
This is phase one.
Phase one. If you look at the whole sort of campus, we did the 3rd Street playground first, and then we got money to purchase the land, and then we got money for this, and then starting in probably August or September, we'll start construction on phase 2, which will go down toward
A little further
Wells Court and behind the 3rd Street playground, so it'll make the whole loop.
It's funny when I say Wells Court, the people are like, well, we have a Wells Court here in the city? I want to find out what the origin was. I wonder if
Who was
anybody
Wells?
at the Historic Commission knows why that street was named Wells Court. Because it was 1st, 2nd, 3rd, Laurel Street. Then all of a sudden there's this Wells Court. It had to be somebody, or maybe there were wells. It's a low area. Maybe there was, I don't know. Good question.
Maybe.
And there's the cost breakdown. So it ended up in the end, the state invested $1.1 million. We invested $526 for a total of almost $1.7 million. And that's phase 1 and 2, or is that the other section? That's just that first section.
Yes. That's all of it. That's
That's all
3rd
of it.
Street, phase 1 and 2.
Right. Awesome. And more to come.
Yep, more to come.
Complete streets. Explain what that is. That's the state saying we want people to get out there and use
So they want
streets,
as
but
many,
we want them to be safe.
Right. So they want as many people to be able to share a road as possible using as many modes of transportation, walking, biking, motor vehicles, everything, to try and fit on one road.
Right.
Which is a challenge sometimes, especially in older cities. You can't, necessarily fit everything, but we're doing good. Mechanic Street.
This was what we call a walkable neighborhood.
Yep.
Say French Hill, or that area around Arlington Street, Walnut Street, downtown. That was real true. That's what they're trying to really replicate, is the days when people would walk. It was walkable. Now people walk for exercise. They now back walk. I'm amazed at how many people are out there walking their dogs. And
yeah.
So this is more of a whole hybrid of giving spaces for people to ride bikes, making sure that people with physical disabilities can get around on sidewalks as well.
So we did our priority plan, even though it was required under the program,
Right.
even though we had a jump start on it because we had already been doing this
Right.
for years.
Yes.
So, but for example,
Yeah, who else has been out there around the state putting in granite curbing,
Yeah.
concrete sidewalks, and making handicap accessible?
But to use the Arlington Street neighborhood as a example, we did sidewalks on Arlington Street with complete streets, Walnut Street, and Stearns Ave. And then the city program did Washington Street. And there's so many people who do that loop now because it's all sidewalks.
Oh, sure. That's a great loop up around Highland Ave and all that area. So what's next?
So we get $400,000 a year as long as we apply for it and do it correctly. So we're going to continue this year, in the fall probably, with the ADA accessibility project downtown. Which
Do
is
we
going to
get
be
money for that yet?
We're waiting for it.
All right.
So hopefully that'll come in the next couple weeks, and then we'll bid that.
Because we have some places downtown where the handicap would have a little bit of a difficult time getting off of the sidewalk into the crosswalk.
So there's 26 more of those that we're going to do
so we'll
with that
straighten
money.
those out.
Yep, we're going to do Depot Square, the continuation of that around the corner by Bank of America. Some of the downtown sidewalks are going to be done, which are wider. So
Right.
that's those are
Beautiful.
great walkable. And we'll keep going. We've
Right.
got 5 years that
Right.
we can apply for
Right.
that money
And
under
it makes a difference.
Yeah.
We did more sidewalk last year than anybody around us, but more sidewalk than we've ever done. And we're going to be doing sidewalks very soon anyway, right? We've got some additional money appropriated to do sidewalks. Safe routes to schools?
That is a new program for us. We've been trying to access that for a while. and it is, it actually starts in the schools. They work with the state to identify areas, and they qualify, and then we can come in and apply for the money for whatever, you know, the DPW sees as
So this will
something.
go from Mechanic Street to Viscoid Ave, and
Mechanic Street to Lancaster on Viscoid, and then we're actually going to use some of the Complete Streets money to go down Johnson Street to connect all that.
Perfect. There's a lot of kids that walk to school going to Francis Drake School.
And we actually worked with Pat Bresnahan at the police department because we're going to get some more signage for the crossings. We're going to enhance those a little bit in a couple places.
Gateway cities. Not every city is a gateway city. There's certain standards that you have to meet. But here are some of the things that, some of the benefits that we have because we are a gateway city. Over 1,000 trees they've planted.
Yep.
And you can tell, it's starting to be very noticeable of all the trees that they've.
And like we talked about yesterday, some people were asking what, there were some college kids going around in the neighborhood, and they were measuring the trees because now it's been 3 years, so they're measuring the growth to see, you know, how we're doing with our trees. But I don't think, some people, you know, most people don't realize all the benefits of being a gateway city. They think it's just a, you know, tag or something. But on almost every major infrastructure grant, we get priority.
Right.
So we got MassWorks grant of 2.5 million, which did all the, updated all the pipes underground, which were like 100 years old downtown, did pave the streets, you know, sewer relining, all that. And then we did the whole Adams Street area for underground infrastructure, which helped us bring those properties, you know, the private infrastructure or the private investment over on Adams Street. So that's, you know, it's major grant money coming into the city.
And it's a major transformation in that area down there off of Adams Street and some of the other locations that we've been able to get grants. So the real key is, and a lot of times I will hear at meetings, they'll say, you know, if we could just get the money, you know, build it and they'll come. For us, it's been a partnership where we say, no, partner with us. We're going to go to the state, but we're actually going to make this happen, and it's actually going to have an effect on things. Let me go to the next slide, if you're...
So I wanted to talk a little bit about Adams Street because I think that it kind of shows the full picture of how long ago this
And the state loves this, and they love showing it off.
Yep, because we started with the, you know, when we started to do the rezoning, we looked at Adams Street and said, what is it going to take for a private developer to come in here? Because, I mean, those buildings were just...
Ready for demolition.
It's a tough thing to get someone to renovate them.
You never get your money back on them if you put your own, you know, if you had to do the infrastructure and everything. So this is a little bit of a boost.
Yep. So we did the rezoning for that area, gave it a specific, you know, mixed use designation. We also tagged those buildings, those two buildings, the Carter Building and the Summer Street Building, under the HDIP program, which gives those developers additional incentives to develop, you know, for housing. So we did that, and then we supported the 140 Adams Street with tax credits, and it's just a huge commitment by the private sector that it benefits both of us because we got the infrastructure in the ground, updated all those pipes over there, you know,
otherwise
for all
those buildings would just sit there and catch fire and get and now I think we've just got one small old factory that really does lend itself well to renovation. That will happen soon, I believe. But other than that, everything is full. This building, all the buildings around here are full, and all the old mill buildings are either apartments or been you know, places like this, sort of an incubator business startup company.
Yeah. So we used 1.6 million of city money, and the investment. 20 million probably is,
Oh, easy, in one building.
Yeah.
There they are. Look at that, huh? And somebody just emailed me and said, I thought both of those buildings would end up burning down.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of other people did. We tried. We brought a lot of people from all around the state. And people, I think, sometimes think, you know, I've had this, you know, people have come into City Hall and say, so what are you guys doing about economic development and bringing businesses to town? Let me tell you, it's not sometimes an easy sell to bring somebody out here when they could be on the inner city doing these projects and there's a guarantee, you know, there's guarantee you're going to get your money back on the project. Here it's a little bit of a, you know, here it's, you need more tools in the toolbox, which is why we're a gateway city. But in the end, these are beautiful projects that take a lot of hard work from both city staff and, you know, the project developers, and some risk associated with it.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about the MVP program before. We got the $25,000. We're going to hire a consultant, and this is a great opportunity for the community to get involved because we're going to have at least probably 1 or 2 multiple-hour just get-togethers. Like we used to do this thing called the charrette with Dr. Mullen from UMass, and so we're going to do like brainstorming sessions on what we need to get prepared for the future. I mean, in my estimation, not just climate change, but everything prepared for emergencies.
Right, and you have to today. Absolutely.
Yeah, which we've done well.
Right, if you think of most of our area is surrounded by 12 hills or mountains, whichever you want to call them, small mountains, hills, big hills, small mountains. All that water goes from the high point to the low point, and with the storms that we've had, I can show, I mean, anybody, I said this so many times, anybody that wants to take a ride around town, I'll show you what these storms in the last 4, 5, 6 years have done. They're short storms, but they really hit us 3 or 4 inches of rain in just half a day, and it's like taking 5 gallons of gallons of water and dumping it in your bathroom sink, and you sit there, and it takes a little while. It's similar but more powerful.
So over we've really worked. A lot of grants can either go toward the city or the schools, and we try and do partnerships whenever we get. We get a lot of money.
And,
we get yearly.
And providing safety and making sure that kids are safe and staff are safe in the schools is a high priority for our administration. That has been. I remember we're on our 2nd or 3rd round of generation of cameras in terms of technology, but we were doing things like ALICE training. It's been going on for many, many years because it's a priority.
So we get Department of Justice money every year for the police department. So we thought with some of these innovative security grants, it would be better to include the school department. So we got money for cameras for Skyview and Samoset, which actually hooks up to the police station.
So if there's an incident, the police department can sort of can dial in, or they can open up communication and open up the cameras inside the schools.
Yeah, and there's better security within the school that they can see what's going on. There weren't always cameras everywhere that there needed to be, so we had a new analysis.
Are amazing. Yeah. The pixels are just how clear they are. What you can see off of is. I know I was walking through the high school one day, and they were testing the system, and they could read the piece of paper I was holding in my hand. That's incredible.
Yeah. So right now we're waiting to hear about, we applied for new doors for Northwest and Fallbrook and some camera systems for central office. And so it's really worked out good that we're, connecting with them. And today I met with Steve Mamoni and Bill Mitchell, who does a lot of IT stuff. And we are going to put in a grant tomorrow for cybersecurity for both the city. And so basically what it'll do is it'll train all our city and school department employees on, it's getting so complicated and so tricky. I mean, emails look so real, like they're even from a colleague and they're just scams.
They're scams, yeah.
So that'll be good. And then that'll open us up to more money that we can use.
Phone systems we've done. We're going to be doing phone systems in the school.
Servers.
Right? Phone systems in the school. Servers. All of that. It's a huge undertaking. We were in Boston today just talking about how complicated it is today to run city government. That 25, 30 years ago was a different animal. It was totally different. And so we were relying on the phone system. And if your phone system looked elaborate and there was a problem, you unhooked it and put in a cheap $14 one, and it worked. Now, did it have 12 lines on hold? Today, everything. There are a million moving parts in city government today to running a city. It's sophisticated. It's totally different animal. The days are over of, kissing babies, and not that you don't do it, and lunches, and everybody thinks out eating lunch with the ambassadors, and hardly the case at all. This is 24/7. It doesn't stop. You got working nurses and doctors from all over who live here, who are working in hospitals in Boston and all over the place, and they're communicating with me at 1. They'll leave a message for me for 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. It's 24/7 now. And some bigger cities have gone to nightmares literally nightmares.
Nightmares.
And they have weekend mares because it doesn't stop. And you don't just, somebody gets home, you know, a nurse gets home and they work different hours and that's their morning or their night.
Yeah.
And you know, they're communicating with you. And you want to communicate back as quickly as you can. Somebody had texted me today about a car that's been, you know, 2 in the morning and drives up and down this particular street, revving up the engine and peeling the brakes. And I responded within like 2 minutes. And he's like, wow, that was fast. Well, today, if you don't, things pile up. So, no, this is, when you look at the city-school partnerships and everything that we do, whether it's running of the water and filtration plants or the treatment plants or fire and police, everything is so much more sophisticated. I remember we did our first inventory in 1994 of how many computers we had. And we didn't know how many pieces of technology we own. Now it's, you know, it's 10 or 15 times that.
Well,
so,
today when we were talking about the cyber grant, you had to fill in how many employees, and we did it because we knew how many computers we had, how many emails.
Now we know.
Right.
Sure. We know where everything is. Everything's barcoded. We know where it all is, how many phones we've given out, who gets them. Phase 2, this is what's next, Phase 2 of Mechanic Street. A new grant for downtown Leominster near the woodblock. What's that all about?
So we hired we had money left over from the Moosonok Brook project, and the state okayed us to use the money to go from Moosonok Brook all over town to do an architectural study, or like it's a landscape plan, to figure out how we could expand maybe bring some businesses out on the street with outdoor seating,
right,
or what we would need to do to kind of bring downtown to the next level.
Right. Everybody loves to eat. This time of year, everybody loves to eat. I think Gaz Bar's got outdoor seating. There's some outdoor seating at Ryan Time. There's some in the back of Mezcal. You know, people just love, you know, a nice night, daytime, you just, you know.
So we're going to try and apply for the first phase of this new development, which will be right in front of the woodblock, and it includes just new trees, just a whole new pattern over there of not touching the street, just, you know, new brick and new trees and flower boxes. And the guy from Boston was really good. We saw before and after pictures, and it was awesome. Really, so we're going to try the first phase of that plan that he developed.
And then we're waiting for word on mitigation, as we're talking about climate change. Some of those huge storms have actually cut into the bankings of the Nashua River and are slowly and gradually making their way, and it's going to take a while, but huge, massive, 80-foot trees just falling into the river because of erosion.
Yep. And that is in my estimation, is the most difficult grant there is to apply for, is that one.
Yeah, that's the one that required all the paperwork.
Cost-benefit ratio.
I think they do that because they apply from around the country, and they're trying to narrow the field and see how serious you are.
Well, when you finish, it's a great sense of accomplishment.
Yeah, I guess so. It's a marathon. More justice assistance money coming.
Yeah, and that's been really good for us for the downtown.
Excellent. They've done a great job. The police have done a great job. The walking beats and the directed patrols, not just downtown, but all over the neighborhoods and all over the city, and it's really helped. And there we go. Pretty good. That's a lot of work there, Wendy.
Yeah,
the grants
it's fun,
never stop.
It's fun.
Never stop coming. So before we lose time, want to remind you, Starburst, this Saturday, the 15th. The rain date is the 16th. Father's Day is the 16th. Free admission. Gates open at 4:30. The All-City Youth Band and Chorus, Citizen of the Year, or Citizens of the Year. They're going to have a magician, the Leominster High School Jazz Band, the Starburst Concert Band, Band, and then fireworks after that. And it's usually wrapped up by 10 o'clock. And if your dog gets upset, Louis, when he's a little baby, didn't really get upset. Now he gets upset. So prepare for that. The fireworks are going to happen, and you should prepare for that. Prepare for that. This is really cool. I was talking to Ray Richard the other day. St. Cecilia's Parish on Mechanic Street will be having a rockin' sock hop with meat raffles on Sunday, June 23rd, 1 to 5. Join us for the trip back to the fabulous 50s and 60s with DJ Ray Richard. Come listen to the Buddy Holly, Brenda Lee, just to name a few. Tickets are $5, which includes an entry to the grand finale meat raffle. Doors open at noon. First drawings at 1. Sandwiches, snacks, drinks, including beer and wine, will be available for purchase. Prizes will be awarded for the best dressed, and tickets can be purchased in advance at the rectory during normal business hours. We have a great brochure here for Shoalin Farms. It's got a map inside to tell you about all the different trails that they have, and about all the properties that they own. But everything in here is all about the apples when they come to get ready to be harvested, the names of them, a little bit about each apple. So this is their apple guide and map.
One of the best places to start hiking, right up at Shoalin.
It sure is, because it's all downhill after that. And let's see. Oh, the Flamingo Fest, June 23rd, 5 to 7 or 5 to 9?
5 to 7.
Let's see if it's in here. Cannoli Fest, Flag Day, Pink Flamingo Day, June 23rd, 5 to 7. So we'll be downtown. Hopefully it'll be outside. We had to be inside last time, but we had a good time. I sense the event has grown, and it'll be bigger. And so anyway, get ready for that. And then after Pink Flamingo Days, the Johnny Appleseed Craft and Beer Fest, August 3rd, then Ladies Night Out. I hate to be talking about August, because that's when, but no, you know what? Band concerts will begin with the Colonial Band coming up the 7th. Is it July 7th? So lots going on here in the city of Leominster, and I was up to take a peek at the North Street project the other day. And so they have totally done all of the infrastructure work, and now they've grinded down about 14 to 16 inches, gone. So they pulverized it all and ground it all up. They spread that material to take the excess material out, and then June 24th, which is not this coming Monday, but the following Monday, sounds like, 24th? Is that a Monday? Anyway, June 24th, they will begin paving. So that happens in a couple different ways. First is they'll put a base down. Then I suspect they'll put they'll get going on the sidewalks, but they get the base down because right now it's just gobbled up, ground up blacktop. Get the sidewalks in. I know there's going to be a short shutdown once they've got some pavement down in the street, so those workers can take the vacation at the same time, so they could all come back and get moving again. But they've really done a nice job. Police have kept traffic moving, kept the businesses open. It's a $9 million project, and I've seen some people on Facebook say, why would you spend $9 million on a side street? Well, first of all, the street was needed. It needed work. It needed work on the Fitchburg side, the Lunenburg side, and the Leominster side. And this is a chance to get sidewalks in there. All the infrastructure that was in there was old. And a real bonus is the detention area that they built. In the past, there were these little streams. They weren't big streams. But when we had these big rain events, they would become rivers. And everything below that, heading down the Eastern Ave and Industrial Road, would flood. And it'd flood people's yards, and there was nothing that you could do. And it was sad to be down there, flood the streets and everything. So this giant detention pond that they built, the water from a couple of those little streams will go down, will go in there. On the north side of North Street, that will build up. If it builds up too much, that will then kick into like an overflow. That water will then go into a sediment basin, basically, that will filter out sort of, you know, the urban runoff, you know, papers or cans, anything that gets in there. And then it will slowly release that water into those streams so that it doesn't end up in a river. So that was, in and of itself, was a big deal.
And I know people in the beginning were a little bit frustrated with what's going on with the project, but
Right.
that's how, to do it right, all the underground stuff has to be done first,
Everything.
and that was a lot of work.
I talked at the city council meeting the other night, and I used Smith Street as an example, and Willard Street. We're on Willard Street, all set to pave that section where the railroad tracks are, so down between Lancaster Street and Old Mill Road, all set to do it, and then we find the old corrugated steel pipe has beginning to rot. So, you know, why didn't we notice that before? Well, it was pre-season. It could have been at first, when we looked at it, it could have been just a frost heave. Then later, we further examination, we realized, now that's a $300,000 fix. We didn't have $300,000 to fix it immediately. Because it's $300,000, it has to be bid. So there's all these other things. You have to go to the Conservation Commission to get permission. There was all this other work, so we stopped it and patched it, and now we're back on track. We'll get that fixed, and then we'll get it. So this will all be fixed by fall. But a street like Smith Street, if you go in and just pave it, which it does need pavement, if you just pave it, you're going to end up tearing it all up. And then paving again, but it needs drainage work, and again, a lot of that infrastructure is old and rotted out. So we're one of the few communities, and I've been through so many communities where they use a concrete curb and blacktop sidewalk because it's cheap. Well, it doesn't take long. The first winter, that concrete just gets destroyed. The first trailer or tractor trailer or big truck that decides to pull up on the curb to run in somewhere, to run into Dunkin' Donuts or somewhere, the first one that pulls up, well, you know what happens, right? Just destroys it. The concrete breaks. The blacktop doesn't hold up more than a couple of years because usually they don't get down to the subsurface. And at the end of the day, what do you have, right? You have a project that you thought was going to save you money, and it ends up looking really bad. The concrete's all chewed up. So we use granite. It doesn't allow us to do as much in terms of linear feet, but we put granite curbing and concrete sidewalks.
It's going to last for years.
And Grove Ave is a perfect example. Yep. We did that 22 years ago. We did Grove Ave sidewalks in the street, and we're just back there now paving Grove Ave, and the sidewalks are still in decent shape. So you know that tells you the story there. Anyway, we are. What else is going on? I'm trying to think of what else is happening. Saturday night is Starburst. Yeah, I think we pretty much, school ends tomorrow, which is Friday the 14th. Yep. And that's exciting. And it's early, so parents, you're going to have those kids hanging around. Go to our website and look up the programs that we have for the Recreation Department. The School Department has some events. Boys and Girls Club has after-school programs. Ricker Camp is open this year again, right? You went to Ricker Camp. I did. And they do a great job. So keep these kids busy. It's, you know, we employ almost 100 people during the summertime. The other day, every single one of our parks was at capacity, packed. It was such a nice thing to see. The Pop Warner Field had t-ball, not t-ball, but flag football. The over at the on the fields was the softball. I think they had a tournament, and basketball court was full, playground was full, and that water park, amazing how many people were there. And that was at 9:30 in the morning. So Wendy, thank you for the good job that you do. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you, Carl, and everybody back there in the control booth for coming in here on this little bit of a foggy, rainy night. And thank you again. And thank you for watching. The show is over. Go get something to eat. Go get a banana split. You know, do something fun. Good night. God bless you. Remember, the world is run by those who show up. You need to show up. Good night.
Inside Leominster is brought to you through the generous support of Colonial Insulation Company, residential and commercial insulation and fireproofing services, specializing in blown-in cellulose as well as spray foam insulation. For more information, visit their website, colonialinsulation.com.